Allow me for a minute to talk about something that really bothers me, and that is off-leash dogs. So I faced this countless times with my dogs, and it's a situation that I can't really wrap my head around. So people will let their dogs run around off leash and have absolutely no control over them, and that makes it bad for everybody. So I know plenty of people who I train with, compete with, hang out with, who have their dogs off leash, whose dogs are under complete and utter control. In other words, if they say down, the dog will down, come, the dog will come, stay, the dog will stay. There are no issues, no issues whatsoever. Those people will only have their dogs off leash generally when they're training the dog or they're doing something specific with the dog. They don't let their dog run off leash when they're not paying attention, when they're texting on the phone or doing something else. But the people who have their dogs off leash are often the ones who have zero control over their dogs. And then they'll say, as the dog is running up to my dog, is your dog friendly? Well, it doesn't matter if my dog is friendly or not. I don't want your dog running up to my dog. And if you can't control your dog from running up to my dog, your dog shouldn't be off leash. And for the most part, I can tell you that most dogs, 99% of dogs, shouldn't be off leash because they're not under control, because you can't recall your dog, you can't control your dog. And if your dog comes up to my dog and your dog is off leash and my dog is on leash, we might have a fight. So I'm going to talk about this real briefly because I don't think it's a big issue. I think it's an issue of common sense that if you can't control your dog and you can't control it 100%, which I don't know many people who can, don't let your dogs off leash. Off leash dogs are a nuisance and they're a danger, and they're a huge pain in the ass for people who have their dogs under control and who are trying to hang out with their dogs. And hey, Maya, don't play with that. It's a bee on the ground. See, Maya's off leash, and I told her don't play with the bee, and she stopped. Maya, lay down. And then she'll lay down. And she was just playing really crazy with Goofy here, this knucklehead over here, and she's under control. So if you can control your dogs and you're going to take them off leash and work with them, train them or whatever, that's one thing. Have a leash around your neck so that you can recall your dog immediately, put it on leash if you need to, and go on your simple merry way. But if you can't control your dog, and the test for that is real simple. Have your dog running around with another dog, recall your dog. If your dog doesn't come back, you don't have him under control. Tell your dog to lay down and throw a piece of chicken about 4 feet in front of him. If they go for the chicken, you can't call them back before they get to the chicken. Your dog's not under control. And if your dog's not under control, you're a nuisance, you're a pain in the ass to a lot of people. It's not right, it's selfish, it's egotistical, and it's wrong. And the reason for that also is going to be that if your dog runs into a street chasing a squirrel, you're making a huge mistake because you're going to end up with a dead dog and somebody's going to have an accident. So again, I'm going to talk about this. Loose dogs, dogs that are off leash, are a nuisance to most people. You're being selfish because your dog isn't trained and you think your dog should have all this freedom to run around. Well, they shouldn't, and neither should you. Off-leash dogs, you'll get fined in a lot of cities, and it's a basic issue of common sense. I don't even know why there has to be a law about it, but people who can't control their dogs should have their dogs on leash and under control. Makes everybody happier. Simple? That's all.